I've deployed Swiftlane intercoms all over the West Coast, so I've seen them in a variety of different types of buildings, resident types, geographies, and I would say Swiftlane has been the one thing that's kind of hit all those different hot points for me. From a property management perspective, I think as you look at Swiftlane, any access control provider needs to give peace of mind to your property manager more than anything. It cannot be a headache. It has to be a tool that they could use and not worry about. I joke, I think property managers are firefighters. No 2 days are the same. You wake up in the morning and you've got an inbox full of problems that you have to go solve, fires you have to go put out. And if your access control system is one of those fires, it's not doing its job. Whether it's manually having to update PIN codes or deleting people from entry systems or issuing new key fobs or whatever that looks like, that's time out of your day that you could be spending on more value-add items, taking care of your residents, leasing apartments, making sure maintenance is done. So first and foremost, from a property management perspective, you should never think about your access control system. It just needs to work. It has to be integrated, it has to be updated, it has to always be on. If it breaks, you shouldn't need to have to call a local installer to drive out in 3 days and get something fixed, right? Having on-demand attention, 24/7 attention to make sure that that product is up and running. If people can't get in their building, what good is your building? Hey, I'm David Thomas, owner of transformRe. I've been in the real estate industry, I think about 18 years or so now, in a variety of roles. I've done development, property management, asset management, investments. Most recently, I've spent the last 7 or 8 years really focused on PropTech and technology. Worked a lot with startups in the PropTech space, deployed a lot of technology with owners and operators, and done quite a bit of venture investing as well. I joke with founders that I could be their best friend where I could take their product and put it in a 25-unit building and test it out, and if it works, great. We've got 8,000 more units to go put it in. If it doesn't, I messed up 25 units, we'll pull it out, we'll move on, and we learn from that mistake. I think within the access control world, specifically in multifamily right now, and more so in the, we have a lot of legacy product, the Class B, Class C stuff. You've got these old legacy systems, the Door Kings, the Centexes, these different, shiny metal boxes that, have an old dial pad on it and, use an old copper phone line to dial out. We'll call them dumb boxes. They've worked forever. They're on most buildings in most major cities, but there's not much you could do with them, right? You could tap in the back end and maybe allow some, digital access control and things, but there's really no ability to layer in all the different tools and things and features that you want, and that great experience for our residents, most importantly. There's no real security to them. I've seen a lot of examples here in San Francisco of just people using screwdrivers to break them open and get into buildings, dumping water in them and destroying them, all sorts of different things. And so, especially in these city centers, obviously security is becoming more and more important as well. Another big thing I'm finding is copper phone lines are becoming obsolete. They're becoming more and more expensive. I could say locally here, we used to pay about $50 a month for a phone line. The price is now $150 to $200 a month for a phone line minimum. I had a quote for one particular building in the Mission District of San Francisco was close to $15,000 to run conduit for the internet line we needed to get to the doorway from the opposite side of the building. So, looking at your upfront hardware cost is one thing, but looking at that potential install cost and what you have at that site of the location, the access point is very, very important. Reliability is a huge issue. I've worked with several different intercom companies where they glitch out, they freeze, they're not allowing the access, they're tough to program. Resident managers, if they need to manually add someone or add a pin or something like that, have troubles with it. One, you end up with just outdated intercoms. You lose a lot of the security functionality as you don't know who has access anymore, who has pins, who's coming and going. But when a resident wants to go home and they can't, it becomes very frustrating. And so having a good, reliable intercom has always been important for sure. I think I can say I've used just about every video or non-video intercom system out there. I think over time, you learn a lot about the little details of them and what works best, specifically in certain neighborhoods and for different resident types and building types. So it's got to have security, connect to your property management system. It's got to be bulletproof, and it's got to be the right price point and something that future-proofs your building. From a durability sense, I've never had a Swiftlane break. I was one time, I remember a property manager calling me saying the Swiftlane was down, and within 20 minutes remotely Swiftlane had it back up and running. And that was the one call I've had in maybe 4 or 5 years of working with Swiftlane. Facial recognition is huge. I remember being a little skeptical of it when we first deployed it in some buildings in Santa Monica. Wasn't sure if the residents would like it, if they would turn it on. I flew down there and visited the building myself, stood in front of the building, scanned my face, looked over at the intercom, and it immediately buzzed open. It was one of the cooler experiences I've had with PropTech technology, and it kind of clicked with me right then and there. And I could say the places we've deployed it, we get near universal adoption with people who want that feature and use that feature. So, you know, kind of as we go along all those different technology pieces and hardware pieces, Swiftlane has always checked all the boxes for me, and then most importantly, price. I've priced out every intercom imaginable, and I could, you know, very confidently say Swiftlane comes in with the best value for what you get. It's something that the teams are now excited to deploy, rather than a burden of trying to find the right timing to make it work within the budget.